Dang, here, can I make you big?
It's okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Boom. Oh gosh. Now I'm big and ugly. Hello everyone. Welcome to my ugly my office that's also stuff. There's crap all around because I wasn't prepared to come in. Anyways, so Luke's fixing his technical issues. Thanks for hanging out with us. So the adventure, I think the things that we missed in the stream that Luke was talking about is that the real cool thing is the main vampire in this is a Deep One vampire. And I'll let him explain more, but he is both of Deep One ancestry and human ancestry and then turned into a vampire, which is pretty freaking cool. What happens if I do this? All right, that's far more interesting, right? So Luke's going to dive into like the history of what's going on related to that and like talking about the breakdowns of it and stuff, which is all real fun. Let me see if I can pull up some of the adventure and talk about it. Jumping in here, I need to go to my downloads and then I need to open the things, which is super fun. Let's see what chat has to say. Yeah. Okay. You guys are, sabotage, right? All right. I'm opening this up and here's the spreads. And then, okay, what if I can get into this page and then how do I'm going to start presenting, share screen. I'm going to share into the Maelstrom. Windows, into the Maelstrom. Here we go. Okay, so, hey, that's something, right? Look, we're back all of a sudden. Okay, so, boom. So this is into the Maelstrom. So at the beginning, I'm going to read this epically to give Luke some time. A small band of cutthroats and scallywags have been hired to do a straightforward but deadly task. Sneak aboard the demonic warship, the Maelstrom, and slay as many of its vampire crew as they can. The coin is good, but will the risk be worth the prize? Unbeknownst to the shipmates, each of the crew possess a personal reason to seek out this ghoulish vessel with blood red with blood red flesh for sails. As its captain, Albrecht, the Tideborn, holds many prisoners in the haunted holds.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Hey, that sounds nice.
Cool.
Yeah. You seem good for now. Hopefully the audience. I was just dramatically reading the intro here.
Oh, I love that. Can you're blocking? Can you move it to the left a little bit?
This way? This way?
Move the PDF to the left because my head is blocking it.
Oh. Yeah. Here you go.
Just to the left.
I'm.
Are you doing window mode?
I'm doing window mode. Yeah.
Man, we look like such rookies right now.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting to be in, so I wasn't ready for.
I know me either. And I had to close all my windows, so I've moved my router, and hopefully this will be better. I'm gonna get a hard cable for the next time. I have gigabit, like fiber. Like I don't know, not gigabit. I have fiber. I don't know what's going on, but
yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
we promised stream we're gonna get good at this.
That's why we're doing this. We're doing two. I'm going to do 2 a week until I'm good at it.
There you go.
I mean, I got my nice camera out and everything. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about this thing. So let's just cut to the chase here because I ate up a bunch of money by my stupid stuff. Basically, he's a Deep One vampire. My final plan with it was he's turning into a Deep One how far did you get in the reading?
The last sentence is, after weeks at sea, the crew arrive at the tropical fishing port of Baraco to meet their contact.
Yeah.
I just read the first page. I didn't read
the
history at all.
Yeah. Okay, so basically you get the vibe. He was a Deep One, and on his way to transitioning, he got he fell in love with no, that's not right. I'm all confused now. Sorry, let me get it up again.
Yeah.
Well, how's it going, Tyler?
It's great. It's a lovely day.
This is what it's like, guys, to, like this is what I've watched a bunch of videos on like how to get good at Twitch and stuff.
Yeah.
You just got to practice. So we got to work out the bugs, and we'll get there. Okay, can I share this? Oh, of course. No, I don't have.
I want to make my image go away.
But I can just remove from stage.
But then, can you still hear me?
Oh, just turn your video off.
Oh, that's a good idea. Stop camera. Well, see, it does this then.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? I like seeing you. It's okay.
All right, I'm here.
Okay, we're gonna get there. Okay, so let's go back to my screen here. Like I said, we're in the actual InDesign file here, so you're gonna see all the gritty, fun stuff. Present, share screen. Yeah, let's go.
Thanks for sticking with us, guys. Here we go.
Yeah, we got it. We got it going. Look at us. Okay, so basically, here's the gist. He's a deep one. He does not want to be a deep one. He does not want to turn into this fish thing. He hates it, in fact. So as part of his pirate adventures, he runs into a vampire. And I'm picturing like ancient old cave vampire. Like, did you see that, Tyler? Did you see that one? Was it Dracula Untold? It's like the origin of Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
That
I've
kind of
seen every
vibe.
Dracula
Well, like the grand master, vampire is in the cave. That's what I'm picturing.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that we need to add, that's part of the extended adventures. You just do like a little 1-page dungeon of like.
I think that's so cool because that could be like Watcher in the Night, kind of like anyone could go to him asking for help or wants to become a vampire, or anyone who rolls a vampire on the character sheet, like they could have come from him, which is cool.
Yeah, that's going to be the vibe. So basically, this guy turns him into a vampire because he's a deep one. The rules are different. I love that, right? Then he travels while visiting his father's grave, a dead pirate who was, they're from Innsmouth. That's the vibe. He meets and falls in love with Elizabeth Parker, who is a Salem witch. And the two of them start studying magic together. Of course, while away pirating, she gets hung, and he goes ballistic and wants to find a cure. So that's basically the hook. You've got this vampire rolling around. The rules for him are different because he's a deep one, and he wants to raise his dead witch wife back from the grave with a resurrection spell. Yeah. So let's dive in.
Gibbs says this adventure will suck.
It sure will. It sure will.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay. So,
oh, dude, I haven't seen that. I haven't even opened it. I've been so busy. I haven't even opened this yet. This looks
so
really
this
cool.
is a drawing I did back when I was working on Pirate Borg. The thing is, I don't think this is him. I think this is one of his cronies. So I think I'm probably going to redraw the top half.
Sure.
But yeah, you get the vibe. So what is this? Yeah. Gothic horror, great for Halloween. It's a meat grinder. The idea here is this thing is going to be a level 3 adventure in Pirate Borg, level 3. So your players will want to have leveled up a few times, or just bring a bunch of pre-gens. But the real twist in this is that you're going to do a card reading just like in Ravenloft. But the difference here to make it piratey is that the card reading is a form of poker called Three-Eyed Parrot. Now, I have hopes to expand how to use Three-Eyed Parrot more as a divination tool, maybe as a random generator, but I didn't quite get there yet. But I did write rules for how to play normal cards with it. So basically, it's like Texas Hold'em, except that you only get 2 cards in your hand. You get 1 card in your hand, and you bet 3 cards up, 3 shared cards up, which you could call the flop, but they're called time cards in this Three-Eyed Parrot, and then 1 final card. My favorite twist on this is that at the end, after all the betting is done, players can shoot the parrot to basically get a new hand by redealing a hand by doubling the whole pot. Basically, you're like, I'm screwed and I need to win this. I'm going to shoot the parrot. So that's what the rules are here for. But then we've got rules for how to use Three-Eyed Parrot in this adventure. And basically here, I'm going to skip ahead here to it. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to do a reading. And my suggestion here in this one-shot version is that you've got this old fisherman who walks up to play cards with everybody, sits down, throws in some money for a few hands, and then offers to read a special hand. The lights flicker and the storm cloud, So basically you deal out the cards, and this thing is pretty cool. I hope it's not too complicated, so I would really like feedback on it. So let's kind of go over how this works. Basically, all the players are going to get 2 cards face down, and the first card represents an NPC on the ship that they care about, and the suit of the second card represents why they care about them. So here, I'll draw you 2 cards. All right.
Oh, great.
I've got my Lovecraftian deck of cards here, which is perfect, right?
Excellent.
Okay,
I have
so
a deck
let's
of
say
cards with me as well.
Oh, okay. Then you draw your own cards. You draw 2 cards, and I'll read. How about this? You draw your 2 cards, and I'll draw 3 cards for the time cards, and we're gonna read this thing off.
Excellent.
All right. Let me know when you got your 2 cards. What
I've got
they
my
are.
2 cards. Oh.
Okay. What's the first card?
The first one is a 6 of hearts.
The 6 of hearts. So they're Leviath, a mean deep one warrior with a sailed dorsal fin, is of some relationship to you. What suit did you draw for your second card?
It is a spade.
They're a family member, crewmate, or potential ally. So why do you think? Why does your pirate know Leviath, a mean deep one warrior?
Mean deep one warrior. Okay. He knows the location of some family heirloom treasure, but only deep ones can get there. So I've been tracking him down to be like, he knows where it is. I gotta get to him.
Okay, here let's deal another one for here. Why don't you pull another 2 cards for a different NPC?
Okay, the new NPC has a 4 of diamonds.
4 of diamonds is Vincent, a heartbroken musician.
Nice. And a jack of diamonds is the second one.
Diamonds, you've been offered 1,000 silver reward for their safe return.
Okay, so in this one, you're saying that I'm a player at the table, and I've started playing into the Maelstrom, and I've been dealt these 2 cards, and yes. I have this NPC and a relationship to this NPC, and a different player has a different set of cards, and they have a relationship, and whether we know that to each other is secret or public up to us.
Yes.
Very cool.
Now, the reason I did this is because I really wanted you to have a reason to go onto the ship besides just kill the vampire. I feel like that's such an overdone trope, and this gives you another reason. Yeah. And if we go back up to the page before, you can see that I've actually provided like an old school tournament style scoring method, because I know we're going to run this at a bunch of conventions, and we're probably going to run mega games with this. And I think it'd be cool if you want to run it every year. Here is the score list for like things. If you kill the main vampire, if you kill one of his other vampires, if you get your NPC out, that kind of thing. So that's
really cool.
Yeah, that'll be really fun. Okay, so then we're on to the what am I trying to say? The time cards.
So now Tyler has a hand, and John, my middle name, has a hand.
Yes. And now the GM is going to, as this old hermit, is going to read off the 3 time cards and how they unfold your fortune. So the first one is the past card. So I've got 3 cards: past, present, and future. The past card is cool because it's a multi-purpose card. It represents also an NPC, but the suit of this one determines which other NPC who you're working for, who has hired you, who they are and why they want to find that NPC. So I have the Queen of Clubs for my past card. You can see that, which means Captain Ann Hawkins. So basically, you guys have been hired by Captain Ann Hawkins, who's a brash swashbuckler. Or no, excuse me. You're looking for Captain Ann Hawkins, and the person who's hired you,
ship, right?
She's on the ship. Yes.
Yeah.
The person who's hired you is O'Malley, a revenge-seeking pirate, hot-tempered, angry, and unpredictable. They're looking for a lost crew or a family member. So we're going to say that Captain Ann Hawkins is O'Malley's captain. For O'Malley, explosions are always an option for them, and it's got stats for him. So basically, this guy's going to be with you. And my suggestion, which I say in the adventure, is if a player dies, they could take this guy over. And there's even a suggestion for what class that they would become. This guy would be a swashbuckler. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you pulled out one of these 4 suits on the left. The suit gave you 1 bit of information, but then the bit on the right gave you more information.
So
about
this one's a little hard to explain, but it's a double pull because these. So look, this guy's a pirate, and all of these are pirates. This guy's a witch hunter, and all of these are kind of witch hunter related. These guys a deep one. All these are deep one related. Makes sense.
Very cool.
So when you pull an NPC, it's going to be automatically related to an appropriate. It's not just going to be like, oh, the deep one's looking for Poppy, the street urchin. I mean, that could work, but
Right. I mean, and also you can always change it as a GM
of course,
if you want.
Of course.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the past. So now we're going to move on to the present. This is the second card. This card reveals a valuable treasure that's on the ship that you need to find. So this is, fortune teller vibes. I've pulled a 6 of diamonds. So I look up diamonds. It's the medallions from the dark Yucatan, glyph covered coffer filled with snake motif coins, 12 coins worth 100 silver each, plus a Charon's Obol. Now I wouldn't read that to the players, but that's what we know going on as the GM. And then it's a 6. So I would say you find it where the wolf mother sleeps. So the players will write that down and they'll be looking for where the wolf mother sleeps. Make sense?
Yeah. So what's cool about this too is that you're given a mission from the get-go. Like you could even pull these cards if you're doing a long campaign. You're at you meet in a tavern and you meet Jim Hawkins not Ann Hawkins, the first card. Yeah. Okay.
O'Malley. Yeah.
O'Malley. Yeah. I'm with you. Keep going.
Yeah. And then the next card is the future card, and this card whispers of the future. You must learn an ancient ritual that will help to weaken your foe. So this is basically going to teach you, this will tell you where a ritual is. The suit says where they'll find it, and then the number says where they have to cast it in order for it to be successful. So I have a 7 of clubs, which means they need to find it in the laboratory of the necromancer, which us as GMs know is the necromancer's laboratory. And then, but the ritual will only succeed if cast from the highest deck. So then as the GM, you can basically make it fail if they don't cast it in the right spot.
Do they know that information going?
They would know, you would read this, but the ritual will only succeed if cast from the highest deck. So if they don't go, so it's kind of a puzzle they have to figure out.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then you're diving in. This is a bunch of information about Albrecht. Like I mentioned, he is, you guys might not have heard me because of the audio, but basically these rumors about his origin were other ideas I had for how he became a vampirate. But you can use those if, when you're setting the seeds for a longer campaign. He's the offspring of a pilgrim and a deep one, and he was bitten by a vampire as a teenager. Actually, that one's pretty accurate. He was a powerful captain in the English Navy. When his wife fell ill, he made a deal with Poseidon or Davy Jones. Those are all fun little hooks, right?
Yeah. I did. While you were gone, I explained that he is both a deep one, a human, and then bitten by a vampire.
Okay, yeah. I tried to explain that, but, audio issues.
Yeah, I'm not sure it really came through.
Yeah, sure. So I think his stat block is going to need some work, but I kind of need to play test it a bunch this month to really see, the vibe on that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then
if anybody wants to play this adventure, sorry, jumping in on that, we have people who are going to run it on our Discord too, so you can sign up in the looking for game section.
Yeah. So then we're jumping into the information about the pelagic vampires, which is the scientific name, if you will, of these new vampire types. So, obviously they're deep ones, not bat people, if you will. So they don't like the sun, but it won't kill them. Suggestion here to change DRs when that makes sense. If it's bright daylight, maybe it's a little easier to hit them. The lunar cycle matters much more than the solar cycle. So they're more powerful at high tide, which probably won't come into play in a one shot. But if you're running a campaign, if the tide is high, they're hungry and ready to eat. But then, of course, the really fun ones, which I think you should, as slowly as possible, reveal to your players over the course of the campaign, they're allergic to vitamin C. They're not allergic to garlic. They're allergic to vitamin C, which means that they like to feed on scurvy pirates.
Scurvy! Give me the scurvy pirates.
Yes. I think that is a very fun twist, and maybe your players can come on board with a ring of garlic around their neck. I also think your NPC that you've picked, the patron, should help reinforce the old vampire tropes like garlic and holy symbols, and then have them be shattered when they don't work at all. Also, they like high salt content in their victims, so everybody on board is being fed very high, like salty pork and whatnot. And
pork.
As I have it written right now, only Albrecht can make more deep one vampires. There's no the vampire spawns cannot progenate, if you will.
Brad, I love that.
Okay, so then I've got some. Oh, yeah, we need to change a couple of these. We're gonna put some. If you got name suggestions for vampires, let me have them. I want to change this one and somebody else. I stole some NPC names from our campaign, and there are a problem with a few of them. So I'm going to put TKs for these that we're going to come back to.
Chat,
okay.
Suggest names for vampirates.
Yeah,
please.
So here's who I've got so far, but I'm not tied to really any of these. Von Buren is kind of the lieutenant. When I ran this, I used Von Buren as the chaperone to, like, you know, kind of narrate to the rules of the ship to my players, so they wouldn't, if they tried to leave, it looked like they were going to get eaten, that kind of thing. He can kind of guide them around. Of course, he'll turn on them eventually. But the steward to Albrecht and the quartermaster of the Maelstrom, he welcomes new guests and will chaperone PCs around, right? Then I've got Basilica.
So when you get on board, you're not like instantly attacked?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of up to you. The way this sits right now is that they sneak on board, but I kind of feel like there's going to be so many creatures on board that they're going to immediately know they're there, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't figured that part out yet. There's a lot of these things where I'm like, well, this is different on a boat. If it's a big castle on top of a mountain and Strahd wants them to come there, then that's easy. You know?
Yeah.
But when it's a ship, it's just a little different vibe, you know? Captain Renfield. Yep. That's good. This he's less like Renfield and more like, you know, one of the more modern vampire movies where he's got a lieutenant. I think this guy's probably pretty badass, you know?
Hell yeah.
Okay. So then
us quartermasters got to stick together. You know?
Yeah. Let's just smash through these. Basilica is Romanian, tall and arrogant. Jean Henry, in my idea, is like powder coated and fat and smells really fishy and has big eyes. He was clearly like very deep one-esque. We've got a Scandinavian one. We've got Mr. Eastley, who is Scottish, and he has a club with fish hooks on it. Yeah, you get the idea. Bunch of vampires to run into. I like the idea that they're just kind of hanging out on the ship. Like, there's a sea cave that they use as a spa and a tavern, which we'll get to, you know, because they're vampirates. They're deep one vampires. They like to hang out in the water, you know. Okay, so then this is one of my late stage additions, which I think is actually going to be really good when you expand this thing into a campaign. The idea, I mean, she's going to get new art, but the idea is that if he does succeed, basically Albrecht is trying to complete a ritual throughout the adventure. And if you're doing a one shot, it's like, you know, maybe every half hour he makes another step or so. And if he completes it in the last 30 minutes, his bride, Elizabeth Parker, resurrected, comes back from the dead, and she should be like absolutely terrifying. My suggestion here is Samara from The Ring, right? We all know Samara. But then this is my one I'm really proud of is both Dr. Weir, who's Sam Neill, and his wife in Event Horizon. You remember Event Horizon?
Oh my gosh. I don't remember his wife.
She's terrifying. He has like flashbacks to her. She's got no eyes, you know.
Oh man.
No more. I won't give any more spoilers than that, but I love the idea that it's both of those. So basically the idea is like after Dr. Weir visits the other dimension. Oh yeah. There's a bunch of female. We got a question here from Crafty DM. Bunch of female vampires. I mean, I think more than half of them are. Basilica probably is. This one will be when I pick a new name for her. Euphemia, Plock could be either, I guess. So yeah, maybe 3 or 4. And then of course you've got the Witch Bride. So yeah, basically she comes back. She's terrifying. She kind of has a very Morkborg stat block where she performs a random action every turn, including final screams of the wrongful dead, where all the creatures take D6. This should be deadly and harrowing. Okay, so a quick bit about the ritual. Basically, not the ritual that Albrecht is trying to cast. This is the ritual that the second card or the third card revealed in the reading. Mm-hmm. Basically, this is a ritual that will kind of like in Ravenloft, where you get the Sun Sword and all the different little in Curse of Strahd, you got to get all the like little there's 3 of them. There's the Sun Sword. Well, you guys get what I'm saying. Rather than having to find all 3, there's just one thing here, and it's this ritual that if your players cast it in the spot mentioned in the ritual or in the reading, then Albrecht will no longer be able to heal, and he'll no longer be able to use his armor. So, Cats and Kid is, do we want feedback? It's an alpha. You're welcome to include that kind of information in our, there's a Discord channel for this.
I just posted the link. Yeah.
But it's in very rough shape, and we'll get a lot of play testing. So if you're worried about grammar, don't be, because first off, I'll go through it 300 more times, and we have several professional proofreaders and probably an editor as well will read it. But yeah, we'll take feedback. Okay, so let's just talk about the ship, because I want to get to designing. I just want people to know what's going on. Basically, you've got this giant ship of the line. There is a spider in the top. The ratlins, the things that you climb up to the crow's nest, are made of spider webs. The sails are made of human flesh and drip of blood. There is this evil bat creature in the front. There's some NPCs. It's kind of like, take all the things you'd expect from every vampire, from Dracula from 1992, and smash it on a ship. Yeah, I guess, Tyler, having first looked at it, do you have any questions about this? Like, I don't really want to go through all these rooms.
No, I mean, I think also too that's sort of something, the joy of reading through it and discovering it. And if anybody plays it, like, what does it actually play like? My number one question is just, when you move into these rooms, is everybody instantly hostile to you? Or
no. So I say that in the thing. I say that in the intro, remember to use morale, the Pirate Borg, not morale, reaction rolls. You should use reaction rolls for everybody.
Yeah. So especially 2d6 roll ranging from hostile to friendly.
I mean, and especially based on your reading, because the reading, when you're trying to find the ritual, one of the places is from the Grotto sisters, which are like 3 siren witches. And another is from the necromancer's assistant, who's kind of like a Frankenstein type dude, Dr. Frankenstein type guy. You can roll reactions for those, but the players are going to need to learn a ritual from those people to be successful, I think. So
yeah, sure. That's cool. And then do you want to talk about the distribution system that you have for, like, where is my 6 of Hearts character located? Don't you have a way?
Oh, okay. Okay. So I don't actually have that written yet, because I'm still kind of brainstorming on it. I think for now, you just put them wherever, or they're all down in the hold at the bottom. If I go here down to the bottom, they're down here in this prisoner section. Okay. But I think I'm going to add a page explaining that especially if you're playing in person, you can take the deck of cards and you can randomly deal them to all throughout the ship. And if you're playing in person, you can roll out a big battle map and people can see where the cards are. So it's a little bit of meta game in that they know where to go, but maybe those are like, they can sense them, or they're hearing screams or whatever.
Yeah. And then somebody recently got off the ship and was like, oh, they're in the hold, or they have their own.
Yeah. Maybe the patron knows the general gist of where they're at.
That's cool.
And then there is a countdown here. Let's go back up to the, it seems like the audio problem's gone. That makes me very happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So back up here on the countdown, this is how to run it in 4 hours. Basically, every 10 minutes, you set a timer. Every 10 minutes, you're going to kill one of the NPCs, which might be one that your player is looking for. And my suggestion is to get a cheap deck of cards or an old deck of cards and write the names on the cards and then rip them up, but leave their pile where they are in the ship. So when players get there, they're like, oh, there's dead bodies. Like, I think it'll add a lot of suspense,
That's cool. Makes me want to get like a half-size deck of cards.
Oh yeah. That's not about, mini cards. That's not a good idea. I mean, the map though, remember, if you get the map in the Kickstarter, it's like,
it's huge.
6 feet big.
It's so big. It's literally as big as my arms.
Yeah, I think people are gonna have a hard time finding tables to put it on, but that's a good problem to have, I think.
I'll post a link to this map, guys, so you can see it.
Yeah. So, that's what's up with the prisoners. Cool. And then, of course, here at the end we have a random items table, so you can, as they loot bodies and go into different rooms. Yeah, that's the idea.
Nice. So what are we working on today?
Okay,
Capitano?
well, we actually got done 10 minutes early. I mean, I have to fight the urge to deep dive it, which we're gonna do. We unlocked that Patreon stretch goal for that, or the Kickstarter stretch goal to do a deep dive on how to run this. But that will be much better for people when we actually know what it looks like on a larger scale, and how to do it. So let's talk about. I have a bunch of stuff prepared for this because this is what we're all here for. Okay, extended adventure. Here we go. We talked about the themes. We did the run through. Let's talk about inspirations, because this is a big part of kind of what are we trying to get to from a design perspective. And I think this is, if you're an aspiring adventure designer, this is an important part of any writing process, is getting inspiration. Now, I want to be clear though, this is inspiration. We're not trying to go to these pieces and straight up steal. Although the line between those two can be very thin if you look at any fiction of any point of time.
Made. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, I'm Dracula and Shadow over Innsmouth are both in the public domain. So, you can do that, but that's not the intent of this. But let's start at the top here. Obviously, Bram Stoker's Dracula. We want to get that gothic horror vibe. We want to get the idea that there's this big bad dude who cannot be nailed down. If you've read Dracula or seen any of the movies, part of the problem is that they don't really know what he is and they can't find him. So we want to be keeping that, we can't find him vibe going, I'm very much inspired by the 1992 movie. I think it still lives up. There's a few CG shots that aren't that great. As much as I love Keanu Reeves, his performance is very Keanu Reeves. But Gary Oldman as Dracula, oh my God, amazing. If you're running into the Maelstrom, I suggest that when Albrecht is in normal human form and not fishy form, you run him like Gary Oldman. That's my suggestion.
I just saw that movie for the first time this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. It's, I mean, you got...
Whoa.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just, it's everything that you would expect. It's like, especially at the beginning. That's why I have this little picture of the cabin or the wagon scene, like when they're along the mountainside and there's wolves howling. It's just so perfect for this time of year, So then the obvious big RPG inspiration is Ravenloft I6. This adventure is really, really incredible. It changed the landscape of making adventures for D&D, I think. Before this adventure came out, it was very much there's a dungeon and a town, and the dungeon has just random stuff in the other. Not always, but there's not one big bad guy who's I was gonna mention Monica Bellucci, and she's one of the 3 vampire spawns.
Oh my God, just intoxicating.
Yeah. Did you see Beetlejuice?
No, the new one?
Dude, it's amazing. It's so much fun. She's in it, and it's amazing. So Ravenloft, we're drawing a lot of inspiration from this. If you are interested in running Ravenloft, Mike Shea from Sly Flourish has a really great YouTube video and newsletter about how to run Ravenloft with Shadow Dark and how to run it in one night. And I think it's the perfect fit. I'm probably going to try to do it this year, because I love this adventure so much. It's basically if you take Dracula and you make the vampire a wizard as well. We'll give him a bunch of spells. So we're going to be drawing inspiration from that. Especially for this, though, we're also going to be drawing inspiration from Curse of Strahd, because Curse of Strahd is basically the remaster of Ravenloft, but they have expanded it out. So rather than it just being a village and a castle, there's a bunch of other places. So we're going to kind of try to get ideas from what other things can we add to this adventure to make it feel how Curse of Strahd does to Ravenloft? Make sense?
Yeah.
While we're talking about Curse of Strahd, I want to give a shout out to the Beetle and Grimm version of Curse of Strahd. It's $400, I think. I don't have it, but I want to have it because the maps, they have fold out or roll out giant maps of the whole castle. And these roll out giant maps are all hand drawn by Jack Badashi, who works as Stinky Goblin Maps, and Tyler knows. I got to talk about him all the time. He is one of my favorite cartographers. He's got this old school style, and I just dude, if anybody has a PDFs of these maps, I just want to look at them. I'm gonna buy that box when I decide to run Curse of Strahd, because there's there's medallions and handouts for every monster, and it's for fifth edition. I don't know how much 5th edition I'll be running in the near future, but I think I'm going to get the box anyway. So shout out to that. Also, more inspirations, Castlevania, the original one. Man, I mean, these are kind of all the same trope, but like, I think visually and like if you played the original Castlevania, how did it make you feel? That's kind of the vibe that we're going for. Okay. Also, shout out to the Castlevania Netflix animated show. I really feel like while I enjoy the Vox Machina Amazon show, there's a lot of comedy in a Critical Role show, and I feel like this show is like what a D&D. It's like D&D. It's really Curse of Strahd as a show. So if you have not watched the Castlevania show,
it's so good. Oh my God.
It's like the main dude Belmont is like a fighter, with a whip, and then he's got like a cleric, and then there's like a vampire wizard. It's like, and they just kill like literally. It's like you could run that show at least the first season or two. Like a D&D adventure.
She's really like an elementalist, and she's like doing all this great and he like explodes things with his whip. It's so cool. In fact, I'm gonna watch it again tonight.
Yeah. And then moving on to the other side of things, we want to bring the cosmic horror vibe in. So we want to have obviously Shadow over Innsmouth. We're gonna be like kind of leaning into this a lot on how to write the town and kind of how to think about the deep ones and how to think about their relationship to to Dagon, that kind of thing. And kind of jumping off that, not only of the book, but there's so much Lovecraft stuff out there that I want to draw from. So the 2018 video game did a really cool depiction of Innsmouth. Like, look at this. This is kind of what I want our town to look like, Oh
yeah.
It looks actually pretty like Lost to the Locker vibes almost.
Yeah.
And then of course the Arkham Horror living card game. This is another thing. If you're looking for adventure ideas, the Arkham Horror card game, I think it's called ArkhamDB.com. Also the Lord of the Rings one, I think it's RingsDB.com. They're so good for going in and grabbing inspirations. Also, like always, Darkest Dungeon. So I'm kind of thinking like, well, if we're going to write a cool like mini campaign for Pirate Borg, it'd be cool if there's a town with main places to go, but then also like 4 or 5 adventure sites. And then instead of the Darkest Dungeon, it's the ship. You've got this big thing that you need to kind of build up to and be prepared to go to. Maybe you can go there right away, but you might get whipped. That's kind of my idea,
You got to build up to get to the Maelstrom.
Yeah. From a campaign perspective, that's kind of what we're going for. And then, here's some art of the Cove, which I feel like I would love to do a site that's kind of like this. And then the other big inspiration I'm going to draw from, especially from a writing perspective, is Joseph R. Lewis's Nightmare Over Ragged Hollow, which is available from the Merry Mushman. Man, this adventure is so well written. If you listen to the Between Two Cairns review of it, I think Yokai called it like the perfect adventure. So I've got the PDF. We're going to be like looking at this for how to write a town. So that's the vibe of what I kind of want to use to inspire the dive in for this.
So what is the dive in for this? Like, what is the mission statement? We're trying to do what?
So basically I want to brainstorm. I guess since you're here now, I can talk to you about it instead of just having to talk to myself about it. And read chat, which is not that exciting, I don't think.
I can read chat.
I want to think about what is in the town. I want to think about the kinds of things that we want to be there that are very tropey, and the kinds of things we want to be there that might go against the trope, especially to like my idea would be when you pitch this to your players that they don't know about the Deep One thing at all. And it'd be cool to like give them how do we make a vampire town in the dark, like a town that's been invaded by vampires in the dark Caribbean, and make it feel both Dracula, Castlevania, but also make it feel piratey, and then hint at it being like Innsmouth with little, snippets of Deep One vibes. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I want to kind of brainstorm about the town, and then I want to brainstorm about this is probably the big thing I want to get going is how many adventure sites should there be and what are they? And then I have a list of ideas that are just kind of like stuff I've thrown in, which some of this might already been worked in. I just copy and pasted this in real quick though.
So big picture, we're trying to add several pages to this adventure, but really just tacked on to the end of this that is expanding not just the Maelstrom, but a whole sort of campaign leading up to getting onto the Maelstrom.
Yes. And I think my thoughts is actually I'll probably go back and rewrite the card reading and kind of do it a bit more like Curse of Strahd, where like if you draw lower than a 10, the thing is not on the ship. And then just say in the paragraph about how to run this for a one shot, just mention if you want to run this as a one shot, just go through the deck of cards before and pull out all the low numbers.
Numeric numbers. Yeah. Whatever numbers are. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I like the idea of, I really think it needs to be, if you write it so that it's a full campaign like Curse of Strahd, people are going to want to say, they're going to say, how do you run this as a one shot? I'm going to say that. So I want to try to do both, but I think the focus should be writing it as a campaign, like expanding it out to a campaign and then providing a page on how to scale it back. Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about, the town is going to kind of write itself to some extent. So let's put a pin in that for now. And let's talk about adventure sites. So obviously you've got the Maelstrom, which is the name of the ship, right? That's a no-brainer. Yeah. You've got the town, which is a no-brainer as well. I want to show you. Oh, I lost my Nightmare Over Ragged Hall. I had all my PDFs open and ready to go. Tyler, you've never even seen Ravenloft, have you?
No, I want to play Curse of Strahd as a player. So even though I'm a professional RPG maker now, I really want to read that adventure. I'm holding off because it's like at the top of my list.
Yeah, no, I want to run it, so don't read it. But Ravenloft, I mean, it's basically the same concept, but like something about this is so cozy to me, the way this first map is. And this is kind of how I want the relationship between the ship and the town to be. Like basically in Ravenloft, you come in and when I say, I'm going to say Ravenloft versus Curse of Strahd, just to be clear, because even though the castle is called Ravenloft, I think it just make people will know which adventure I'm talking about, right?
Sure.
When you come into Ravenloft, you come through these gates, and basically you can't leave until you stake the vampire because there's mist, right? In Curse of Strahd, it's actually its own plane. So like if you wander through the mist to get there, but then you're like in this other realm. It's a minor difference, but basically I like this idea that you can't leave, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to say you can't go anywhere. I like the idea that, hey, we found this town in the Dark Caribbean and it's overrun by vampires and people there are freaked out and there's this vampire ship. Screw it, we're leaving. And then that guy just sails around and gets more and more and more powerful. Like I love that like we're not going to make them stay there and deal with the guy, right? But I do like this idea that there is a area, maybe that we populate the area around the town. There's at least one or two adventure sites. Like if we're looking at Curse of Strahd, do I have that ready? Recent files. Curse of Strahd, yeah. I'm trying not to be too spoilery for you, Tyler.
It's so beautiful. I'm not going to look at it.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a map of Barovia here. I mean, this is, I'll just try to skip past the stuff that's spoilery. There we go. So this is Barovia as in Curse of Strahd. This section right down here is the part that was in Ravenloft, and they expanded it out to here. So I guess this is kind of what I'm thinking. We're not going to have this many sites. What are there, like almost 26 sites? I'm thinking we're going to have like maybe 6 to 8, some of them being a few paragraphs. That's my idea. Makes sense?
Yeah. So it's more like your adventure sites are all located on one island somewhere in the Caribbean.
So here we need to figure that out. I think my pitch is 3 islands.
Nice.
Kind of Monkey Island vibe.
Yeah, we want to be sailing. Yeah.
We want sailing to happen. We don't want too much sailing to happen, and we don't want the plot to get away from them. But I do like the idea that there are 3 islands. One is where the town is. One is Cuba. What's that? That's Baracoa is the oldest city in Cuba, actually. Nice. But then I like the idea of maybe we do 2 place them anywhere islands, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's not on the map distinctly. Put it where you want.
Yeah. I mean, like there will be maps for them in the adventure, but you can put them anywhere. That's the idea.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got the town. And let's talk a little quickly about how the town will be described. So if we look at Nightmare Over Ragged Hollow, and I don't think Joseph is the first guy to do this, but he does it so well. When you describe the town, Ragged Hollow, he does this kind of bullet point system where you get, it's almost like the main NPC of these locations is really the thing that's more important than the actual thing. For example, I'll just pick a random one. Alchemical solutions. Outside, walls have a shimmering iridescent acid wash paint. Chemist, Omar, 40, gray, bearded, tattoo worried. Sells, says, thinks. Like, these are all things about Omar, not about the alchemical solutions. And I think when you're running an adventure, that's a really good design decision, because really we're making like the things that matter the most to the players, not this like big, like you can fill in what an alchemical solution shop looks like with your own imagination. You really need to know what this guy wants and how that interacts with other NPCs in the town.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the town. So, okay. But without looking at this list, Tyler, I want you just tell me, if you had to pick 4 to 6 locations that would also be in this adventure that describe the vibe that we've set, what would they be? Chat, you can chime in too.
Yeah. A couple real quick while people talked about it, and I have ideas, but people have mentioned some cool things in chat. Someone loves the pocket dimension idea inside of a treasure chest. Like there's a pocket dimension inside of a chest.
That's a cool idea. It's a little normal D&D for Pirate Borg.
Yeah.
A little fantastical. I'm not saying no, but I think that I feel like what is the pocket dimension?
I don't know, I mean, it could also just be like bag of holding style, but I don't know. Let's see what he has to say about that, or she. Next idea, running. One of my ideas, running into Deep One vampire spawn ahead of time. Like you're starting to get an idea of what the vampires are or not, like a little bit ahead of time.
Okay.
But Chet had a good idea. Refugee town. The town is refugees from the Scourge, and maybe the vampires are protecting them from the Scourge, but also using them as a food source, sort of a symbiotic relationship.
Oh, okay. I like that. So we're saying, here, I'll put this in a new. We'll put this in a new.
Like they regularly come and take some of our peeps, but also we don't have Scourge problems here.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I do like the idea of them having some kind of relationship with a Scourge or with Ash. Like, okay, so vamps are protecting refugees, excuse my spelling, from the Scourge. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. To answer your original question, what do I think that'd be there? I mean, definitely investigating sites of decrepitness, like, needing to sail to a graveyard or battle location or desolate location. I'm seeing a Darkest Dungeon like landscape that you have to walk through and search for something. Feels very appropriate. It could be on the same island even that you need to be, but searching graveyards or archaeology digs or dig stuff up seems.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Get any more that like pop out when you're like, man, this is, if you're going to do
terrible forests, dark, ugly fangorns.
terrible forests. Yep.
Yeah. Are right in there for
any
sure.
pirate things, vampire ideas or like pirate ideas that you think would work well with a vampire twist?
I mean, I saw it on your
you saw the list.
But,
okay.
A shipwreck is like a real, sailing to a shipwreck and having to like rummage through that. And you can really mess with like how much water is there. Are there creatures there that deal with that well, especially if there's a vampire already there, trying to recover information or NPCs. I mean, outside of like castles and dungeons, there aren't too many locations that I'm like, vampires are definitely there. Church tropes, are always interesting because of the anti-churchness of vampires.
Chat's got some good ones. Okay, so a hidden citrus grove.
Ooh.
But also
That's like the church version. Get that citrus away from me.
yeah, but also you could mix that with mangrove forests. You have to push around on a shallow draft raft. I like that. Cool. I watched Addams Family last night, and one trope I really like is the raft under the building with where you're like there's big Gothic pillars.
Yeah,
and you have to. And I was like, this feels pretty Pirate Borg. Like, as long as there's water, it's going to feel Pirate Borg, And I like the idea that that's the kind of place where you have to go. Like, imagine you're playing like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, and you're here, and you need to take the raft through the thing to get to there, but there are deep one vampires in the water,
Ooh, that's cool.
So we're going to say underground, water-filled, what do you call that? Arches and columns. Sure. That's kind of one I really like. I do also like this mangrove swamp vibe.
Somebody said a migrating, like a mangrove swamp that migrates.
Yeah. Migrates. Okay.
Like what if it's like hard to find?
Yeah. Okay.
Hard to find stuff is always cool.
Yeah. The question is when you think about expanding a vampire adventure from just a ship and a town, what locations are? I have a list, but I want to see before I show the list if there's any,
Yeah. Well, I mean, anytime you have to hunt down a ship, like navigating and sailing, I mean, this is more the pirate side than the vampire side, but like interacting with another ship, having to hunt down a ship, I'm a fan of the Master and Commander plot line. Like you got to go hunt this ship down to find out the information, to get the map or the compass or the whatever the thing is that you need to find the Maelstrom or get on the Maelstrom.
Okay, so yeah, like some kind of like investigation, find the ship thing.
Yeah.
Where like in the one shot, it's just at the port. You can you start in media res and board the ship. Right. But you're saying
campaign,
for a campaign though, you might have to find it. And I like the idea that it moves around. So I think actually that could be cool. Maybe there's like a 1-page hex thing where it moves and it's got a cycle that it does. Maybe we do like a old kind of
to find the Maelstrom.
To find the Maelstrom, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was saying find like the merchant vessel that knows where the Maelstrom is.
Or clue.
Like a step removed.
Oh, so you're thinking more like old school video game. You have to do the game loop to find it. When you complete the loop, you can just go to the boss location.
Yeah. I mean, also maybe you don't know its route. And if you find, I mean, I like both ideas. If you contact the merchant who was attacked by it recently and you board them pirate style, they'll tell you, hey, we ran into him at this spot and at this spot on these dates. Like they're making a circle. A
ship with valuable intel. That's good. A ship. Yeah. It's a location that it's not just in one spot. That's a really good one. That's a really good one.
It's also like you could use the naval combat rules to overtake them. Like they don't want to be found, or you could board them or negotiate, whatever.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Well, we got any other really good ones?
Our buddy Zach has origins of the original vampires, like any hint or information about the lore to space out.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the locations for sure is his cave.
Yeah.
OG Vamp Cave. For sure.
Yeah.
Here, can I make
prime
this
vampire yeah.
Let's see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Well, Tyler, why don't you check chat while I try to make this bigger so people can see it?
Yeah. Zach also says remnants, ruins of the Battle of Tortuga, where Albrecht gets his ship. So history related to where his ship came from. I like how Zach has read it, so he knows,
Yeah. I'm so bad at doing technical things while I'm talking.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I'll pop this here. There's also a group of British sailors immune to vampires due to being.
Yeah, I like the idea that there's like, this is a pretty common trope as well, but I'm chat will probably know what I'm talking about. There's like the movie where they're on the hunt, and then in the end of the second act, they run into the like brash other guy who's really cocky, who knows all the. Oh, it's kind of like Predator 2. Where they where Danny Glover's looking for the predator the whole time, and he finally is about to crack the case when Gary Busey shows up, and he's like, "Otherworld life forms. We've been tracking this thing. Let's check this out. Back in the 80s, you know." I like that idea that that's the British soldiers, that like they can show up and they can be like all cocky because they're all fully loaded up on citrus.
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
and then they go in and the vamps just murder them. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's really cool.
British soldiers high on citrus.
I also really love. Got some more good chat here ideas here, but I really love the idea of having like one of each faction interacting with the campaign in a faction related way.
Maybe even if it's just one spread. What do the wretched think about this? What do the Spanish think about this?
Yeah, because somebody who's deep into the faction lore, they could be like, my campaign's very wretched involved, and like, you know, that could be really.
I like
really
that
cool.
idea. Okay, how are the core factions involved? Okay.
Some other good ideas. Gallow Hills, where Elizabeth was hung. Our boys.
Yeah, okay, so I thought about this one, Zach. So Zach is referring to Gallow Hills as a real place where the witches in Salem were hung. Witches in Salem were hung, not burned. Albrecht exhumes her body. So a couple things I thought. Her body, in the one shot, her body is on the ship in one of the tombs. But you could totally put her body anywhere you wanted. He could have it buried somewhere secret. That could be finding it could be part of his thing. Maybe, maybe it's hidden. We could play around with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ancient Temple, Dusk to Dawn style.
Yeah. Okay. So I definitely want to do ruins. The thing is, Down Among the Dead already has Into the Mail or Venom in the Veins, which is Yucatan Temple.
Yeah.
And Trapped in the Tropics is 100% going to have Cenote Sea Cave Temple. So I don't want to do another Mazoan temple in this.
That makes sense.
Ruins, yes, but we're not going to put a like regular, maybe like a deep one temple, but it's not going to be Yucatan. I'll say that.
Yeah. Mark said possibly a temple to Dagon somewhere, like maybe a shrine or
yeah,
ruins.
Yeah,
to Dagon.
we're definitely going to put that in, and that could be in a sea cave for sure. We got to think about why do we need to go there? Maybe information. Yeah. I mean, my leaning is to just kind of gut it and rewrite it for a campaign, and then write a page on how to fix it. Because I'm like immediately like, well, how are you going to figure that out? You could just say like, the players know this, the players know that. Put this there, and you're done.
An NPC tells them. They discover it in a written journal. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I think we got a good jumping off point. So let's talk. Let's come up with what I've already got, and then we're going to try to come down. Let's maybe just the goal for today is to maybe come up with the list of the locations and the core brainstorming about the list.
Let me just read a couple more chat ones that we don't have to talk about, but just in case you're like, oh, that's gorgeous. Some high lookout points, maybe a lighthouse. There's also maybe active Inquisition rolling around, West India Company trying to make special ash out of vampirates.
Oh, wow. Special vampirate ash.
Yeah. I think West March has really been toying with like different types of ash from different types of creatures. I know Zach has been toying with that. You can get clues to shifting swamps from the lighthouse, Deep One villages, going to a Deep One's locations, learning about Deep Ones. You know, I didn't know that much until I started working for this company. So learning about Deep Ones I think is a good thing, because not everybody is a H.P. Lovecraft, fan.
Yeah. No, I don't think that they should have required reading. I think that you should be able to read it on your own.
Totally.
Yeah.
Ruins that are, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I also don't think that the Deep One life cycle, at least as right now, is that important. In fact, I kind of have a bit of a science problem with like, okay, so Albrecht is a Deep One, then turns into a vampire. When he bites people, are they also transitioning to Deep Ones? Or they just get various amounts of the Deep One blood from the vampire thing? I think that's what it is. Because like in my mind, there's like, some of them are more Deep One-esque than others. But I think really what it is that because Albrecht is a non-discriminating vampire, that he will seek out humans, hybrids, and full Deep Ones to convert,
Yeah. I mean, it's also cool that like if he bites a Deep One, he's got a different type of vampire than if he bites a human, doing the Aliens or Alien 3 vibe here.
Yeah.
I really, really like this one. Ruins that are underwater, and you need to wait for low tide for them to be
Low,
exposed.
and then there's a timer. Okay, I've got one that's kind of like that. Low tide as a timer on coral or ruins. I love that.
I mean,
okay,
that
that's
could
good.
be a deep one location. I mean, you can combine a bunch of those. Limited safe windows with.
All right. Let's move. I'm moving on. There's not a chat.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Okay. Here's what I've got so far. Maelstrom town. So shipwreck. It's a shipwreck or a derelict or a collection of wrecks. I think probably not underwater, so that we can put something else underwater, because you don't want everything to be underwater.
Yeah.
So this could be this. I don't know what would be there. I just think there's definitely at least one shipwreck. So maybe some kind of lore. My note here is darkest dungeon ruins is kind of the vibe for this, but that's not really what we're going for anymore. So
going off the deck of cards thing, like, could you do that? One of the things from the past is located at one of these locations.
I mean, I kind of like the idea that maybe you deal a card to every location, and
that's what that tells you information about it.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, well, so let's just go through my cursory list, and then we'll see which ones we're missing. So shipwreck or derelict or a collection of wrecks, right? Sea caves. Here, I'm going to still make this bigger. Man, it's like I consider myself to be pretty good at computers, but I'm immediately pretty bad at computers when I'm doing other things like this.
Me too, buddy.
Okay, sea caves. So here are my ideas. Deep one, graveyard cove. So basically what this is picture an above ground sea cave, right? And you have to go in through like a, arch or something. And then there's a huge wall with all these little pockets where the deep one they put their deep ones to rest.
Ooh.
And I like the idea that maybe you have to go to this location to discover some piece of deep one lore about Albrecht or something.
I love that satisfies too the idea of learning more about deep ones that we're saying. I think is cool. That's a fantastic place to be like, would you like to know more? You can clearly do so by talking to the NPCs or reading books here.
Yeah.
Or you can just get the skeleton key that you need, the MacGuffin.
Yeah, I kind of think that this is an opportunity too for a dungeon. So we basically have a weird coral statue. We've got a deep one camp that actually still live there. Maybe those deep ones hate the deep one vampires.
They're like abominations.
Yeah, and then if we want to, we can smash an underwater cenote area into this. And yeah, I think maybe Albrecht wants something there. We're gonna really nail this down. Does Albrecht want something there, or do the players need something there? I think probably the players need something there first.
It's in a campaign too. It's always great running into the villain before the BBG final battle.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't even have to kill you. I don't care. Like,
yeah. Then there begs the question also of merfolk. So when before I made one of the four patron NPCs a deep one, I had the idea of merfolk are actually hunting this guy. So rather than it just being like the Inquisition is hunting the vampires, I like the idea that the merfolk were like, yo, this guy cannot live. This guy is messing stuff up. But it kind of seems more on track and more focused if we just stick to deep ones. So I think we're just going to stick with deep ones for now. And I like the idea of the deep ones that are alive going against the undead deep ones. Okay, so my next idea was swamp with a lagoon of the dead, very like Lake of the Dead from Magic the Gathering, and very
I love that
Paths of the Dead, or not Paths of the Dead, Dead Marshes from Lord of the Rings kind of vibe. With ruins there. We could put a hag hut there, which would feel Halloween and it would feel piratey, especially if she's more of like an arcane sorcerer. Well, I guess that's what a hag would be, right? Spoilers. Has anybody been watching Rings of Power? Have you been watching Rings of Power?
I haven't been watching it, no.
Dude, man, I can't talk about this then.
I mean, you shouldn't talk about it, chat can't. Yeah. But
well, we're gonna put dead things there that want to kill you. So this is a threat. Oh, another thing, another design goal that I wanted to include for all these locations is that they should all be solvable in quotes by more than one of the 4 pillars of D&D adventures, meaning combat, exploration, social, and investigation. So I like the idea that like, okay, you can go here and fight, or you can go here and talk, or you can go here and investigate, or you can go here and just like sneak around and explore. So as I'm writing these, I'm going to be keeping that in mind, right? Swamp. Okay. And then I had haunted jungle, Mazoan or Lovecraft ruins. So I think we've established we don't want it to be Mazoan. So we're going to say we're going to say Dagon temple ruins. Not castle vibes, maybe ghosts. Yeah, sure. Ghosts, an artifact in the ruins. I like that idea. Swamp though, this Lagoon of the Dead, we're going to say maybe these are mangroves. Mangroves that attack you, like kind of Ent style. How about mangrove Ents? Does that sound? No? Chat, what do you think about mangrove Ents?
It's pretty fantasy.
What if it's it's definitely fantasy. Hag hut with a twist. Okay, I got a question mark by it. Okay, haunted jungle. So how can we make a haunted jungle feel different than a swamp? I mean, obviously the
ghosts.
Yeah, ghosts, not the vibe. Like we go for like deep canopies, multiple levels. And then I had Elizabeth's grave. Yeah. See, Old Man Willow mangroves. Yes. Agreed to fantasy. We get getting conflictions here. Vines in the mangroves. The vines for sure. I mean, that's in the core book. We got the garlic jungle. Oh man, that's good.
Garlic jungle.
Okay, yeah. I like the idea that the swamp, this guy said coconut crabs. Let's put the coconut crabs in the swamp. Crabs. Haunted jungle. Okay. Okay, things we want to add on to here. A ship the players must find with intel. Another, what do you guys think about if we're going very Curse of Strahd, instead of the winery, the Wizards of Wine winery, we could do a distillery of sorts? Or is that too much like the 5th edition adventure?
What is at the, I mean, I don't know what that is. So
I actually don't remember, because all the Curse of Strahd I've run was designed to just get them to the castle. I did it as like a 4-shot. So I didn't get to go to a lot. I didn't get to go to like Amber Temple or, massive carnivorous plants. Ooh, you know what? Yeah, I think so. Is that the swamp or the jungle? I feel like the swamp vibe here is going to be very much the swamp in on Stranger Tides at the end, but not Fountain of Youth vibes. On Stranger Tides. Like lots of, although that also is jungle. Or this should be one location? Should it be a jungle and swamp? Like, I think maybe the jungle is near, how about this? We're going to say the jungle is near the village, and the swamp is, you have to travel to it. I think
like
that's
slug
the vibe.
piranha hybrids.
Different island. Yeah, like maybe this is on a blighted island where, when you, the vibe of the island with a village is very like creepy and mist and all that stuff. But the vibe on another island is like, what happened here? This island is haunted.
Yeah. Yeah. I love blighted was the word I was trying to describe earlier, with like terrible forests and or messed up mangroves. Blighted mangroves is really cool.
Blighted swamp island. Yeah. This is the vibe. Sorry, I'm not a very good typer. Island. Different island. Yeah, we said that. Lagoon of the Dead, mangrove Ents, definitely mangroves. I think that the animated vines, animated vines, is going to be in the jungle. Which makes me think that maybe the mangroves are a threat more in a sanity way and less in a physical way.
Oh yeah, that's cool too with anything haunted. Messing with your
or maybe the
mind,
mangroves
spirit
should be in
checks.
should the mangroves be in the jungle, and then you can do the vines and the mangroves, and then the swamp is much more like, yo, there are no trees here. This place is long gone.
Yeah, there's just like the remnants of trees. Like it didn't used to be a swamp.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try that.
Cool.
So we're gonna say the mangroves and the mangrove ents are gonna be in the haunted jungle. I don't know if we're gonna do ents. I feel conflicted about that. Not ents. Like what are the ones called that
Dryads?
the ents get to come to Isengard? They have a name for them.
Oh, I mean, those are just
Hurons.
smaller ents to the layman.
No, I think they're called Hurons. Hurons, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, large wild tree-like creatures that could move and make sound. Those are the ones that show up and eat all the orcs after the battle of Helm's Deep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Hurons, yeah. So we're going to call them mangrove Hurons. That's an idea. So they're not, you can't like sit down and have a talk with them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, different island. Okay, I like this ghost. This thing is, okay, cool. Okay, so a ship players must find with intel. We're going to say it's a merchant ship. Yeah? Merchant
I think
ship.
a merchant ship is really good. There's been no like written official Pirate Borg material that states like how to interact with the merchant ship, which I think is a great.
Yeah, that'll be in Dark Caribbean for sure.
Right. It's also which nationality is that ship, or are they one of the NPCs that you pull or something like that? You know, like there's a lot of cool choices there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else we got here. Oh, the OG Vamps Cave
Dutch.
for sure. That's definitely going to be a location, even if it's like not that big. It doesn't even need, like, have you ever read, you probably haven't, but have you heard of the Black Worm of Brandonsford?
Mm-mm.
Or anybody in chat, Black Worm of Brandonsford? Or, Chance's newer adventure, Secret of the Black Crag is probably a better example. Do I have that PDF of that? Secret of the Black Crag. I don't know if I have a PDF of that on my computer. Secret of the Black Crag is an old school adventures, old school essentials adventure that is like the kind of thing you would run for your OSC players if you weren't playing Pirate Borg, because it's a full thing. You could just, you go to these islands. You could totally run it with Pirate Borg. I think tying it into the Dark Caribbean would be a little bit tricky, because it's basically like all the pirate tropes in one thing, and Dark Caribbean is like them spread out over the whole setting. But look at this. This is got to be one of the inspirations for Joseph for the Nightmare Over Ragged Hollow. But this is how they do the town. So Quinn, owner of the Golden Egg, sells, offers, thinks. So this is a great way to write our town. But check out how he does. He's got this like little hex crawl. This is like perfect old school D&D intro adventure. If you've never played D&D before, let's play OSC and Black Worm of Brandonsford. So you can go to all these locations, but look how short some of these are. This is about the worm. Spoilers. The worm. Goblin Castle, right? This is the whole page for the Goblin Castle. So I'm like, we could do this. Like, I feel like sometimes I overwrite things and I'll give like all these informations in all the rooms. And like, this is a this is probably a whole evening, half a session dealing with this 6-room Goblin Castle,
Yeah.
Or like, where's some other ones here? Witch of the Woods. I mean, like, this is a whole, oh, here we go. Fawn's Grove. A heavy, sickly sweet aroma has settled in this place of forest, where the trees bleed red wine in place of sap. Sounds of mirth and music echo from an unknown source. There's trees, wine, and fawns, which you can interact with. I mean, this relies on the GM to do a bit more work, but I kind of feel like if I'm running this thing, I like if you just give me enough of the hooks and know what's happening there, that we could add 12 locations to this, as long as they're not too crazy. You know,
I mean, it's much like Curse of Skeleton Point, like specifically Skeleton Point, just the map. I mean, that's 2 spreads, but like listing a bunch of different rooms and there's just a quarter paragraph each.
Yeah. You don't necessarily need. Yeah, you're right. It is very short like that.
Yeah, and you can do that. For every different adventure site location gets half, either 1 page or a full spread, depending on how big and valuable it is. And then it's a sort of choose your own adventure of what you need, where you need
pick
to go.
The ones. What if we did? Just throwing this out there. What if there were 13 locations, some of which are very short? Then you could assign each one to a number from the deck of cards.
Yeah,
maybe. Or yeah.
But then what? You pull, like, why does that matter? Like, you pull from the deck of cards.
I mean, I don't know. When you look at Ravenloft, like, they don't care about the numbers at all. Like, look at this. They do for their card pulls. They're like, if they pull they're first off, they're like, only put these cards in the deck. And then they're like, here they're like 3, 5, 7, 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace. And then for Strahd's motivations, 7 or 10, Jack or Queen, King or Ace. So you totally don't have to fill as a designer, I like the idea that each entry is unique, but you definitely don't need to do that.
I like more like inside of those locations, putting different polls that, like, hey, when you pulled these cards, like, put these cards go at these locations, or here are different ways to use those cards at these locations. I think that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. But I guess I'm saying, like, are there 52 things that you're pulling, or is there a way to like trim it down?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think in the adventure thing, you say, how long of a campaign do you want? Like, okay, pull these many cards, these many, like, you put these cards in these locations. Yeah, I mean, isn't that how Strahd works? That's like, if you want a longer campaign, you pull out more locations.
No, Strahd is just like Ravenloft. The difference is that when you run Ravenloft, all of the cards are in the castle. There's 3 things you need to find, and they're all in the castle. And when you do the Curse of Strahd reading, some of the, like, half the locations are in the castle, but the other half are at adventures all around Barovia. So
yeah, but
if you want to run a one shot, you just take all the cards that make it outside the castle out, and then they can just find them in the castle.
Oh yeah, got it. Well, it could be a cool thing of, like, draw 10 cards for an average campaign, and that,
Yeah. I left this comment up forever.
Oh, sorry.
We need someone running. Next time I should talk and you should run it. That's the way we need to do it. We're learning, everybody. We're leveling up.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could do something that's like, draw 10 cards from your deck, and using these charts, put them on these, or 13 cards from your deck, that builds your campaign, and you have more than you need locations. Draw 5 and you have 13 locations, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool way to, like, build a campaign that's like, it's always
a little different.
Or you can also go to everything.
It does walk that line for me of, like, how important is replayability compared to running the best version of it,
Yeah, sure. That's like, oh, you guys didn't go to the swamp? That's the best location, or whatever it is. Sure.
Yeah, well, the suits being the faction that we already actually have that's with what's going on here. If I pull it back up, I don't have a quick way to hop around yet, so I just have to show you. Like, when you pull these guys here, the club is you're basically working for the pirates. So maybe we could tie that in even more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. I mean, I know that was his comment, but that's what I'm saying, that tying into that deck thing, I think, is really cool and makes it unique. It also, like, takes some work off the GM to be like, I want to run this different, but I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to run this 3 times today, but I don't want to think about it. Like, oh, here's just boom, I got this character, this character.
You mean like run the adventure 3 times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to run the campaign.
Okay, let's keep going.
Times. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Terrible Forest. You guys nailed that one. Graveyard. There needs to be a graveyard. Should it be a graveyard that you have to visit in the town? Or should it be one that you have to visit somewhere else.
I pictured it that you had to travel to it, and then when you got there, it was terrible. Like maybe that graveyard, in my mind, it was visually in the swamp or through the swamp, or like you had to journey to it.
Okay. So I think maybe that the swamp is turning into, like, if we're looking at it like Darkest Dungeon, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of. Let's say that there are 6 major locations, and there are like each of those is a dungeon, right? Dungeon in quotes. So the swamp can have multiple things at it. One of them being haunted graveyard, like an old one, right? So then you've got basically the swamp, the jungle, which this is kind of what we are already doing in Skeleton Point, but we basically in Curse of Skeleton Point, because there is a swamp and there is a jungle, but we're working on it from there. Graveyard. And then the sea caves. So that's like 3 full locations, plus a shipwreck, plus wherever in my idea, Elizabeth's grave, or it could be also what's his name? His dad's, Albrecht. Ooh,
yeah, that's cool. Finding history about the Maelstrom.
Yeah, history. Itself. I like the idea that it's on a desert island where there's nothing there, but maybe there's a treasure map to get there. See, now we're getting bloat. Now we're going to bloat it up. I guess we'll just dump all the ideas in, and then we'll get rid of them. Okay, so British. So should the merchant ship that you need information on be the one with the British soldiers that eat lots of scurvy, or should that be a different faction?
Well, the tough thing about that is, like, I really love the idea that British soldiers go after the Maelstrom and all get just wrecked. That's really cool. But like, if you have a dozen British soldiers with rifles on the ship, that could be a very hard encounter for them to take to board. But I guess it doesn't have to be. I do like the idea that the players get the choice of, like, are they shooting at it? Are they boarding it? Are they being friendly? Like, I like a choice is encounter good. There.
Choice is good.
Yeah,
I like this one. It's the dead swamp, a flooded graveyard. Yeah, so we could say that the swamp graveyard. Where do I have that? Blighted Swamp Island, haunted graveyard. Some of the corpses have been flooded. I cannot type. Some of the graves have been flooded, and their remains spill out into the swamp. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Good idea.
Nice.
Okay, so then we're gonna say, like, Navy ship loaded with citrus. Captain Gary Busey from Predator 2.
Hey, laddie, you don't mess with the Deep One vampires. Let me tell you what they have.
Yeah.
Definitely some time to learn there, which is cool.
Okay. What about learning about Deep Ones? We've kind of got that covered we're going to have that be in the sea caves.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Okay. One thing we have not done, I mean, unless it's going to be, what if the shipwreck is at low tide? So the option is to go right away and risk water, or we can even just, like, one paragraph at the beginning. There are 2 options: go now or wait till low tide. Both have, if they go now, they have to deal with sharks. If they go later, then they have to wait and they risk being discovered by whatever,
That helps deal with the, like, or that gets the time mechanic too that we were sort of talking about, like the coral or ruins being flooded, or you want that to be something different?
Well, that's we don't have any coral in here right now. The thing is that I don't want to just turn into, like, another version of Skeleton Point. I mean, I know that Skeleton Point is here's all the things you're probably going to do in Pirate Borg, but it'd be nice to make it different. So that's why I like the idea of this.
It feels pretty different right now.
Well, but, like, there's coral in that, there's swamp, and there's jungle, and this is sea cave, swamp, and jungle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And instead of a castle, there's a vampirate ship. So
I think you should. Yeah. Coral can be part of the shipwreck thing, right? Like, why did this ship wreck? Could be against coral.
Okay. So we're gonna shipwreck. So it's not a derelict. It's going to be a shipwreck on a shallow coral reef. So we can buy both of those in. And you know what we're going to use for this, my dude? Patreon. Is it called Capsized Galleon? Boom. Capsized Galleon. Oh, I've got my Dropbox off. This guy though. You get the idea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we kind of use this on the derelict ship generator in Pirate Borg.
Yeah.
Ooh, haunted. Look at that. Oh, look at that.
I love though that like if you go at low tide, it's easier to walk around, but like the coral's exposed or something like there's razor sharp coral or you're racing against the tide. If you go at high tide, you can get pushed into the coral from the current being really strong.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's like small, but I did that in Black Coral Bay. That's a risk, but whatever.
Oh,
I think that
I've run that several times. I didn't.
Have you run the coral part?
Only once.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Bridge of Soldiers. So I've moved that up. How are core factions involved? That could be like another spread. Some kind of investigation, find the ship thing, hexes. Oh, this is a find the Maelstrom.
Yeah.
Mini game on hexes. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, where can I put this underground, the thing from Adam's Family, underground water, like, that's like super castle vibes.
Isn't that basically what's happening at the Deep One graveyard? It's not underground, but it is under cave.
Okay, I'm with you. So what we're going to do, we're going to say in the sea caves location, we are going to add a section with large Dagon style columns where navigation on a pole pushed raft from points A to B to C are threatened. Oh my God, by things in the water. So you know what my pitch for this is? My corporate board meeting pitch is that it's Moria. It's Moria with water.
With water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I've never even considered before. But that's what this is. Maybe not that
could
tall.
Be a whole campaign, dude.
Yeah, like Moria underwater, dude. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, then tide could be a thing there too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it strikes your interest, but you could do it raft with a pole, or you could do that. There are there's a rope that runs from one end to the other, and you're like pulling yourself from one side to the other. Both are cool.
I kind of like the idea of it being like you come into the sea caves and then there's like, oh my God, this is not sea caves. This is like an ancient civilization. Like this is an ancient place of Deep One Dagon power, and then the big pillar room is the center point where then you have to explore from there. And that gives you choices and it lets you maybe you find the thing first, and maybe there are multiple places there. I like that a lot. Let's get my mind going, and I think that will be a unique location.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit here. I don't know about Vampirate Ash. Maybe that could be a thing that. I guess if you kill them, they should leave it, right?
Leave Ash?
Yeah, I mean they're undead.
If they're undead, then technically, yeah, right? Like, basically everything undead does except for maybe zombies.
Okay, so we're going to say this is just maybe an overall note here. We'll put that in ideas. Oh, let's go over these ideas before we get too far here. Merfolk vampire. I'm cutting Merfolk from this. I think we haven't really done the Merfolk thing, but I think they deserve more than, just being a side thing in this kind of smaller adventure. It's actually not going to be smaller when we're done with it, but okay. Yeah. Treasure map. Definitely need some map vibes in this. But I can work that in though. I don't think we need to state that out right now. Sea witch that reads seashells. Okay, so my idea was instead of doing the three-eyed parrot, was to throw runes. Not what runes say.
Not what runes say.
But I guess I've abandoned that for now. So maybe I could just say that she reads shells. That maybe she could be in the swamp. And I'm going to say she can be a social encounter or a combat encounter. It could go either way. I really like that, where it can be both.
The map could lead the players to the sea caves is a good one from chat.
Yes. I'm trying to think about how important is this map to the campaign? Is it the kind of thing that they need to find right away, or is it the kind of thing that you find later in the campaign? Yeah, it's good.
I mean, the order of all things sort of depends on what you discover at why you have to get there, which you'll get to, of course.
Yeah, of course. Play element that can be run with naval. Okay, so this is one thing that I really I saw a shot. I wonder if I could find it. I just saw a shot of somebody playing Pirates of the Spanish Main. Mm-hmm. With all the little, they had done all the terrain for the islands and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so cool, Tyler. Hold on.
I'm trying.
Hold on. How can I make you?
I'm just practicing.
You're so cool.
So dumb. I'm so cool.
So my idea was it'd be cool if you were running this adventure, a cool way to run it would be to show the archipelago and place the little islands and give them a ship and then have them move around to the archipelago. I thought that would just be a cool way to draw the players in. It's something that I would like to set up as a GM. Oh, let's talk about that. I think that's worth exploring. So how can you?
A cool thing about that is having other forces roam around on that map. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, there's a British or Spanish ship of the line or galleon roaming around hunting for pirates at the same time. It's not even to do with the Maelstrom itself, and you have to avoid that. Anything that changes the map landscape as you move around, that you're oh, even if it just randomly is moving this way or with the currents, and you're hey, we even though it makes sense for us to go to the shipwreck first, the British, the Queen's Revenge or whatever, the Royal Navy's over there, so we can't do that. We need to go east instead of going north or whatever. That could be really cool.
So I don't want to get. First off, I wanted to explore this idea. But I don't want it to be too non-RPG when we're done. But what if you have kind of a AI mini game built in there where you have the archipelago and the Maelstrom is moving secretly, but based off of some kind of dice roll, and the Navy ship is moving secretly or not, and same with the merchant ship. All these little things are moving around the area, and the players have to decide where they're going without knowing where those other things are going to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think it's probably the coolest, being that one is revealed, one is not revealed, and in order to find the unrevealed one, you have to acquire these clues or find the merchant ship or whatever. You could also just accidentally randomly run into the Maelstrom, but if you don't have any knowledge, you're not going to do well. There's this great thing in the Dune board game, and there's been several iterations of it, Twilight Imperium and board games after it, that's has the worm moves around or the fleet moves around, and it's unsurmountable. That's you can't. You're not going to fight your little pirate sloop, or even brigantine isn't going to be able to deal with whatever's the British thing unless you super want to try. But I like that very much.
Yeah, I think this would take a decent amount of game design to really figure out how can you make it fun, but not make it just feel like a board game. Like, oh, we can't find this thing because the rolls went wrong. You know, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but yes, the story. I mean, like if you had a map, a hex map with islands on it, and you put instead of the Ravenloft map of like you have 20 locations on this, you know, in this land, it's 20 locations across the archipelago map, and there's and some of them have multiple locations on single islands. But the more places you go to, the more you find out. But in addition to that, there's two or three other ships moving on this map, and that makes it a dynamic.
I guess that's pretty easy. So you make the archipelago map, you know, and we could also move the adventure because my original idea was to put this thing in the Dead Islands, which is our Virgin Islands, because that's a great archipelago that exists.
Yeah.
I run up with this problem where I'm like, well, I don't really know how much to put in this versus the Dark Caribbean. So I'm like,
sure.
You don't want to double up, and you also don't, but you don't want to like, you know, like I don't want to put any major ports in this because those should be in the Dark Caribbean. You don't want to do it twice.
Right.
I kind of have that problem with Cathagan. Is Cathagan, if it's a major deal, it should be in Dark Caribbean, but it isn't in Dark Caribbean because it's got its own adventure, you know?
Right.
So.
Sure. Referencing that stuff is always really cool though, too. You know, Zach pointed out like referencing other adventures, like even if it's just a single sentence, like this is a great place to put blah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think I do like this idea that we're going to say, well, I'll just add this to adventure sites. We're going to say, archipelago with a map. And my idea is that it's square so that people can use the 3x3 naval combat map, put little islands on it. And obviously that won't be to scale. I don't think, but it can still be used as game tokens.
Yeah.
You know
also, we could count the number of squares on that map and make sure it's somewhat close to that. You know.
No, I'm just saying that I don't think that these islands are going to be like hundreds of feet away. They'll be days sail away.
It's not.
You know?
Yeah.
So the ships won't be to scale. That's what I'm saying.
You could change. Yeah. No. Totally. The map is a general's map. It's not a to scale map.
I just feel like that's a great way to run especially if you're running a campaign or VTT. You roll that thing out. Here you are. But it'd be cool to do that in person. You know.
Yeah. But like, oh shit, the fucking British.
Oh, and you know what I'm thinking? Another thing I'm thinking about this is I'm thinking for our mega games, we could totally have a mega game where we build this map in the middle, and each crew is a different pirate ship that needs to recover an artifact or piece of information to confront the Maelstrom.
Albrecht, yeah.
To confront Albrecht, yeah. Okay, so we're going to say 0. Archipelago map.
Anderson said we're using all the things that they used in their game. Heck yeah.
Yeah, nice. Delaney.
Minds.
What's up, Delaney? How's it going?
I'm starving.
Okay, cool. Well, this is looking good. Okay, so let's see if we can get through the rest of these ideas before we're finished here.
You want to
Vampire Ash?
here, I'll do it. Never
mind. Vampire Ash for sure. There are ghost pirates. Okay, no, I'm going to cut that idea. I had the idea that there are like, you know, like who all is hunting Albrecht besides you? And I think the answer is probably the Navy ship. Like I like the idea that, or maybe there's one from every faction that cares.
That's kind of what I was asking about. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you've got an Inquisitor. I can never spell Inquisitor. In case chat didn't know, I'm really bad at spelling. Yeah, there we go. Spell check. Inquisitor ship. Like Inquisition ship, right?
Yeah.
Wretched ship. And these could just be like one paragraph.
Yeah. Somebody in chat suggested earlier that instead of from the French, that it be Endgame Society people specifically.
Well, what do they want?
We're
gonna say
Endgame wants to over. They're anarchists, right? Or at least overthrow the government. So
yes,
maybe they want power. I just like each one wants something like one.
But what does that have to do with Albrecht?
Like maybe they want to be turned into vampires so that they can overthrow. They're more powerful. You know, I like the idea that something
they want to be vampires.
Yeah, what they want is different than like. There's the kill them. There's the capture them. There's the use them to your advantage. There's the learn something from them. I feel like is like the 4 pillars.
Okay, so I'll put them on here. French/Endgame, which are related but very different factions.
Yes, yeah.
The other thing too about putting, I mean, I guess you've got Endgame already in. Maybe you don't need to have all the factions. Maybe you just need to have like 3.
But just
because
some factions is cool.
You've got Endgame in Venom in the Veins,
That's true.
and you don't have any factions in Lost to the Locker. So maybe okay, we'll put a pin in it. I think that these are also just like they're like one column. Here's the name of the ship. Here's the kind of ship. Here's the captain and the crew, and here's what they want. And running into them could, like maybe the players ally with the Wretched because they want to, learn some Deep One rituals from them. They want to study them for Deep One science. Ooh, I like that. Learn. Let's say want to learn Deep One rituals or study them for science? Question mark. Inquisitors, they obviously want to kill what? Ooh, British Navy. This is a good one. British Navy is actually British West India Company.
Yeah.
And they want Vampire Ash.
That's awesome.
They both want, I think they want Vampirate Ash, and they want the classic, we want to study for military research, study vamps.
How can we make our fleet that much stronger?
For military research. Man, this thing's getting big. Okay, we got Vampire Ash in here.
4 months later, Luke finishes this one adventure, and it's like, okay, now I'm going to draw the other ones.
I mean, look, here's the thing, dude. Like Ravenloft is sweet, but Curse of Strahd, dude, you could play that for 2 years. Like, and I think if this thing is good, why not?
Yeah.
I don't think
having a campaign is awesome.
Yeah, and I think as long as we provide a good way to still just run it, I mean, then it'll be fine.
Dude, Chris Boren and his crew ran Curse of Strahd for 4.5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you
played
could run
every
it
week. Yeah,
you could run it for a long time. My thing with Curse of Strahd, I really want to run it, but I don't think I want to play 5e for a year.
Yeah.
Like I like 5e except for how long combat takes.
Yeah, but Luke, if you want to run that, you can just run it Pirate Borg style. Like,
I mean, I think I would just run it.
Totally. Just to point out, it's 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Mountain Time. You said you're going to go about 3 hours or 2 hours.
No, 2 hours. Yeah. So we should wrap up, I think, because I don't want to get burnt out on these, and I want to farm the ideas and then actually get to the writing, which I thought I would do a little bit more of, but I think the technical problems in the rundown took a little longer than I thought. So we'll wrap up here in a few minutes.
How about tables for factions, ships, crews, objectives?
Okay, witch hunting zealots from Salem could be. Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. 100% each of the patrons should have a ship. So each 4 of those guys have a ship that the players can be on, or if they don't have their own, and then you can run into the other ones, right?
Yeah.
So you might run into the deep ones, and you might run into the witch hunters.
Yeah. And then how do you know what they want?
Well, I'll put that in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just have to figure that out. Oh, and you could use the card system still, whatever.
Yeah. If you want. Yeah.
Or reaction or.
Okay. Play elements. Okay. So we've established I do think this would be a really cool element. It'd be really cool to be able to lay this thing out. Colony of witches that have fled from England that live in a town. Okay. So these might be in the main town, which is maybe why. Well, I like that. Yeah. I'm going to say colony of witches that have fled from New England. They live in the town. That's maybe one of the reasons that Albrecht is so interested in it, because he's got his love. Okay, cool. I think this is a good start. We're done with ideas. I think I'm going to not use vampires protected from refugees from the Scourge, because that puts them in another place. We've got Graveyard. Underground water-filled arches and columns. We've got that in the
simply just be that there's a regular port that the Maelstrom swings by as part of its loop to take people for food, to refill its coffin.
That's what the main town is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some kind of investigation finds the minigame. Okay, yeah, we've got that in the archipelago thing. How the core factions are involved and low tide. Okay, cool, great. Well, I think that's a really good jumping off point. I think we've got. I mean, this is just a list now. I'm just going to say ideas instead of adventure sites. So, these are places for in the town, coastal. Okay, cool. Well, okay, good. I think that was a good start. What'd you guys think? What do you guys think of this? I think the next stream on Thursday or Tuesday is going to be a lot different because we're writing a class. We're working on the Deep One class, which will be a lot more actually writing instead of brainstorming. Some of this stuff is such deep. You have to do such deep thinking to get it to work, you know?
Yeah.
But I think this is a good list.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I really love the archipelago map idea and anything that like gives you sailing choices to move around and ways to have structured interactions of naval combat and or running away or interactions, I think is, a very Pirate Borg that other games don't have. So leaning into that and that being able to run a campaign in Down Among the Dead, like it's not, the book isn't even pitched that way, but when it like is done, it'll make the whole book that much more valuable. So I really love it.
I mean, yeah, I know. I think we quoted the printer at 128 pages, and if it ends up being an extra 20, I have no problem with it. As long as it's good information,
Yeah.
Which I'm sure it will be. So, I forgot to run the ticker the whole time. I can't imagine there are two. Is anybody? Let me know in chat. Is anybody in here not back to Kickstarter? Just out of curiosity.
I know at least one person has said they're going to wait for retail.
Oh, okay, that's totally fine. Yeah. I'm just curious, like who our audience is. Down Among the Dead has 2 weeks left on the Kickstarter. It is 10,000% funded. Is that correct?
Yep. 10,000 and change. Yeah.
10,000% funded. $500,000. Man, we had to come up with new stretch goals. Oh, I do want to tell you guys, we're going to do a big announcement about this, and I think I'm going to do a video for it. Is it 6,000 backers, Tyler? How many are we at right now?
We are at 4,274. It's 5,000 backers.
5,000 backers. Okay, so we're making a new stretch goal. Everybody pay attention because this is a big one. We're making it, not that you weren't already. Look at me. Hold on, let's go here. We're making a new stretch goal. It's not a dollar stretch goal. It's a backer number stretch goal. And at 5,000 backers, we're going to add another class to the book called the Antiquarian, which is basically, we figured there's a unlocked soul, which ties into Lost to the Locker. There's a deep one, which ties into the Maelstrom. So if you got 3 big adventures, you might as well have 3 big classes. So the third class is the Antiquarian, which will tie into the Venom in the Veins. It's basically the pirate version of Indiana Jones meets the Antiquarian from Darkest Dungeon kind of vibes. An artifact, hunting class. I'm not going to do it. I don't have it written. I'm not going to do it unless we hit 5,000 backers. So our pitch here is to get your players to go back the new player guidebook tier, or just get them to back at $1. We're just trying to get the hype thing going still, because we're in the mid campaign, era. So invite your players to back at the guidebook level or back for $1 just to get those numbers up. So if we get to 5,000 backers before the end of the campaign, I'm going to do the Antiquarian class. Does that make sense? Is that cool? Is that exciting at all? Or is it just
yeah, people, that's what I think.
People. Yeah.
People. I like people.
Yeah. That's my thought. It's hey, if you're going to run this campaign or you're going to run this game for your players, they're gonna have more fun that they have. It's like it's $20 for the little hardcover book.
Right.
Not to be too salesy, but I just really, if I were I'm like, imagine playing D&D without everybody having players handbooks. It's just so much better if they have the players handbook. So invite your players to back. Boom. Here.
I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
Chat says.
Yeah, exactly. Antiquarian. And to be honest with you, if we hit 5,000, I'm going to come up with another one for 6,000. The same deal. Like I'm kind of like, I'm of the vibe that it's like, it's a everybody wins thing. Like the more people that are excited about it, like if you get your players excited about it, that's better for you and it's better for us. And we get to make more things because it's in more places. So everybody wins, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just get your mom to back for $1, right?
There you go.
Get Ed to open up 10 Kickstarter accounts and back for $1. No, don't do that.
Yes. Hi, Mama Stratton. I need you to get every lawyer in Columbus to back the Kickstarter. Please.
Hello. Hi. Yes. Can you please? Yes. Can you get the whole school to back for $1?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. That's my sales.
What school are you talking about?
I don't know. Well, I mean, some of these people are in school. I think if you could get your whole college campus to back for $1. Wow.
Yeah.
I hope nobody does that where they just like give their friends $100 and they all back for $1.
I hope someone does do that.
I mean,
yeah,
I guess sure, whatever.
Yeah,
as long as I don't know.
That's great.
All right, well,
all right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week on Tuesday, same time, same place, 1 o'clock Mountain Time.
Well,
right?
Yeah, same time, different day, same place.
Yeah, on Tuesday. Yeah.
On Tuesday, yeah. Thank you for watching, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It looks like we maintained a decent amount of viewership, so I think we didn't do
lose
too
any
bad.
Viewers while you went away and came back. Amazing.
People are understanding.
You guys are rock.
If I was in college, I'd actually do it. Probably not for $100, but 50. Wait, are you saying you would give out $50 to get 50 people to back? Man, Tommy, let's go.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. Here, I'm going to play the flag.
Roll credits.
But there's no credits. All I have is this cool little flag. Where is it? Let's put on loop on.
Welcome.
Sorry. Yeah.
See you guys in the Discord.
Look at that flag. I'm just going to sit here for a few minutes and watch the flag. Flag. Wait, do we need some music too? Here we go.
Of course.
Okay, this is like the post-credits scene, right? Like, they're not still watching, are they? No, they're not still watching. What are they doing? Great live stream. Not. Oh man, I like this troll. This is the troll part of the show. Tyler, why aren't you talking?
This has been a live stream with Limithron.
Oh yes. You've been watching
brother.
Ship of the Dead live stream on YouTube. What do I say? I'm like,
please remember to like, subscribe,
check
hit
out
that bell icon.
Check out my Patreon if you like getting new maps. And you only get charged when it makes something new. What else do I say?
Please drink milk and eat Oreos every night.
Call your mother. Call your mother, everybody.
Be grateful and love one another. Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other.
This has been a Limithron LLC production brought to you by True Pirates. Piracy is not actually cool in real life. Please don't hurt anybody or anything like that, and be excellent.
We do not. Yeah. Dude, you nailed it. That was a great. I love that.
Happy sailing.